Hello there gang, how are we doing today? Here is another episode of the R&C Growth Lab, and today we're going to be talking to you about various points, but basically the main heading is to stop competing on prices. But this is going to be a short video because we've got a series of 5 videos coming out in this whole thing for detailers and leather technicians. And what it's basically about is there's going to be 5 sort of main key points that we are going to bring up for you in the next 5 videos.
Yeah, so it's like an intro. This little
bit so this is like the intro. Yeah, just explaining of what's coming.
Yeah.
So we've got 5 main sort of key talking points that we're going to talk to you about. And the thing is, it's like with most things. Most leather repair technicians or detailers, they start to panic and they start getting very price conscious. They, somebody new comes into the area and there may be £50 or $100 cheaper than what they are, and they've got to suddenly start dumping prices to compete. And it's one of the worst things you can do because it is just a race to the bottom, guys.
Yeah, so
and
the first one is exactly that. Stop competing on price.
Yep.
How detailers and leather techs can sell value, not discounts.
Yes. Yeah, you've got to sell the value because that is what's key here. You're not selling a discount, you are selling a value. When people start having to discount products, it's a way to sort of dump products as well. If you look at our leather repair company, in all the years that we've been in business, I think, and that is only due to staff coming in that were coming in with these great ideas that we as a pair did not really want to do, but we said, okay, member of staff, you're going to shake things up, you're going to do things better, we'll do what you want to do. And we had a sale. I think we had a Black Friday sale and then we had a New Year's sale. And to be fair, we've never ever done them because we don't need to do them. No, you might think, oh, well, that's a bit pig-headed, but the fact is we sell value, we sell solutions. We sell, the products, what they can do, how long they can last, and that's what it's about. We're not selling it on comparing on pricing. I don't care what prices are that our competitors have. Our prices are our prices, and that's it. We sell quality. We don't sell quantity. We're about quality over quantity, and that's very, very important that you've got to remember. The thing is, would you rather sell 10,000 bottles of, cleaner at £1 each? Or would you rather sell maybe 1,000 bottles of cleaner at £10 each? I know exactly what I'd be doing. It's a lot less work involved with selling 1,000 compared to 10,000. And the thing is, you can actually make more money selling less than you can selling more, unless you're really piling it high and selling it cheap and trying to get it to the masses. But then you need millions of pounds to chuck into marketing to get to the masses.
But then you undervalue the brand as well, don't you?
Absolutely, yeah. And that's the next thing.
If you do things too cheap or sell things too cheaply, they were like, blooming heck, I paid £10 for it last week and now it's only 5. Think how much they're making. Like, how many people say that? Like, oh, when they're selling it at 10. But it just undervalues everything, and then they start to think of you as just a money-making, you're just there to make money. They won't realise that sometimes people do these sales and they're selling things at a loss or they're just breaking even. But the general public don't think that. They see it as like, oh, you must be making an absolute arm and a leg, as they say.
Literally, you must be making an arm and a leg, and it's...
it doesn't do it. It doesn't do the brand or the customer any good.
No. Selling
things really cheaply.
And the thing is, that just affects the whole industry, which is some of the things we're going to be talking about. With these sort of 5, sort of different modules that we're going to be bringing to you.
Yeah. Then people start comparing, don't they?
Yeah, people start comparing. Now the thing is, guys, with these 5 modules, what you're going to get is obviously with the comparing price, which is what we've got here. Each one of these modules, we have a cheat sheet to go with those to help you guide your business. Obviously, you can also contact us, and we are there on inbox, however you want to contact us to get more information from our wealth of experience of running multi-million-pound companies over the years. And it is what we've built up with varying companies. I mean, there was at one point we were running 10 separate companies. A lot of people find it challenging to run one. We were running 10 separate companies at the same time. So it's quite a challenge. And, we don't know everything, but we've certainly got to know a lot of things about what we do. And everything that we've always done has been basic, other than when I've had nightclubs and things like that. in restaurants. It's nearly every business has been within the automotive industry or leather industry. We've tried to stay very specific to our core industry. And there are things that we're thinking of now, which is, again, within our core industry of new ventures and business things that we're sort of looking at doing. Obviously, you've then got, which is what we were talking about there, which is how customers view things, which then takes us on to the next one, which Carolynne will explain to you about.
Yeah, so the first one, it kind of leads on to the second bit, which is the psychology of clients. So it's why they pay more for trust, professionalism and guarantees. So it's kind of, we touched on it, and we will be touching on it in more detail in the first video we do. And in the second one, it leads on to that. So people will pay more for
of course they will do, yeah. And
or,
it's
or
that
for the same.
Well,
even.
yes, the same thing, but they'll pay more. It's about the psychology side. So it takes us back to that thing again, sort of fighting on price to get to the bottom. It's not a race to the bottom. You've got to remember it's a race to the top. And that's very, very important. So many people don't understand that it is a race to the top, not to the bottom.
Yeah. And those types, those type of clients that are going to get 5 different prices, 5 different quotes, the type of clients that are going to pick the very cheapest deal.
You don't want them.
You don't want them anyway.
No.
You don't want those. They want a quick fix. They want a bodge job. They want they're maybe selling their car, whatever. Then you don't want that. You're gonna get there, and it's gonna be full of the sweets and the dog hairs and the everything else. And I'm generalising, but that's the normal kind of rule.
But then the normal kind of rule like that, what you're gonna then find is when you've done the job, they're like, oh, you didn't do this, you didn't do that, you missed this, you missed that. Oh, the last guy did this, and the last guy did that, and the other girl did this.
So much more
and it's like, what?
To get that.
No, we can't do that with the price. You never said you wanted that doing. So you got to bear all these things in mind, guys, because it is the psychology side. People will pay extra when they can sort of like trust you. They know what the quality that they're getting, and that is very, very, very important. And it is about taking the customer on that journey, and it's essential that the customer understands the process of what they're doing.
Yeah.
And that sort of leads us on to the next sort of thing, which is like how you communicate value to your client, which Carolynne will explain it to you.
Yeah, they're all, it is a series, like we said at the beginning, so they all roll into the next kind of subject. So
it's like packages value.
Yeah, video 3 is going to be how to communicate your value, making clients see what they're paying for. So you've got to sell not just your service, you've got to sell yourself. So
Could you imagine?
You come across confident and everything else, and this is what you're going to get, this is what it's going to be, this is how it's going to be, and it's going to cost that much. Say that price with confidence. Just don't turn around to be like, well, yeah, but it's £250 for that. You're putting doubt in their mind.
Yeah, it's a negative.
If you say you can have all of that, what I've just described,
and
for
it's
just
only
£250.
Just $250, guys, and there's a big difference there. It's like it is going to cost you £250. I know it sounds like a lot of money. That just sounds like you're trying to justify. It's the psychology.
Don't assume that they can't afford it.
No, that's the psychology side again, and by assuming that they can't afford it, you're actually insulting your client.
You're putting them down.
And you're putting them down. And the thing is, that client could be a secret billionaire before you know, but actually not act that way. And there's a lot of them out there that are like that are secret millionaires that just don't act like they're a millionaire. And one of the guys that got me...
If you're too cheap, they won't pick you anyway.
And they won't pick you. And the thing is, that one of the guys that got me into this industry, you would have never believed the wealth that the family had. And he used to use like orange baling twine as a belt, but secretly tucked away in his barn, he had like a collection of like 150 to nearly 200 cars. Some of them being presidential cars from America, Rolls Royces, the Queen Mother's cars. He had Bentleys, Rolls Royces coming out of your backside, basically. Very special one-off buses.
Never brushed his hair.
Never brushed his hair. But it was very particular about brushing his teeth. He looked like a hippie, and it's just, you just can't tell. And so you've got to be very, very careful. It takes us back to the psychology side, and it is the how you communicate with the client. And it's like a good way to communicate is showing like before and after pictures. I don't have I could get you a after. Well, not an actual after, but I could get you one that's virtually clean. If Carolynne's just going to grab me that mat over there, and she's going to show you, and I'm going to show you something here about like a before and after sort of video that we could, of a picture that we could sort of show you. So if you could imagine showing the clients that, this is horribly stained, and there you go, it is cleaned, that is your results. Could you imagine selling that as a story, clean before and after? Doesn't that look amazing? Dirty, clean. That is your sort of differences. So you've got to sell,
sell the end product.
Sell the end product.
It's
communicate clearly
what they're aspiring to have, or what they're trying to achieve with their whatever it is, their car, their leather, their whatever it is you're doing.
Yeah, it's communicate. It's all about communication. You've got to try to get out of them what they want, because they might have seen their friend or something online of how so shiny something was, and you've got to try to explain, well, it can't quite be like that because of this. But you've got to communicate all that, guys. So that's going to be number 3. Yeah. That's 3.
It's like
that's
a
the third
story.
video. We're going to be telling you a story as well, and we're going to be taking you on a story with these 5 videos. So the next one is obviously building you're a premium brand, and that's going to involve things like consistency, professionalism, and authority.
Yeah, definitely. So again, number 4, you're following on from number 3. So you're building the premium side of it.
Yes.
So, and that substantiates your pricing, substantiates what people are going to pay for your service. So not only are you selling yourself, you're selling the brand that you're building as well, and you get that by being consistent. Yeah,
and it's trust, it's confidence, all those sort of things, and that is what is building a brand. You've got to be, you've got to sell this premium experience, and you've got to get that over to the customer, and it's just conveying that message again. It's building that brand. It's becoming the guru. Do something like we're doing, like with this, just start a podcast, start a YouTube channel, and be that informational guru. Obviously, authority, author. I've become an author, and I've got several books coming out. I've already got the one out, Rawhide. Cheap plug. Get over to Amazon and buy it. So all these sort of things become authority within my industry, and that's exactly what you've got to do, is to become the authority with what you're doing, so that the customer understands that you are. Your brand that you've built is very trustworthy, and it's got authority.
I think trust is consistency. Trust is the big word there, because people have got to believe in what you're doing. They've got to believe that you know what you're doing as well. Yeah. So, if somebody sees something anywhere, social media, whatever, like, oh yeah, Richard said, blah, 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 you want people to say, well, that must be right then. So this guy that says it the other way. I'm not saying that Richard's always right.
No, not always right.
Because you're always learning things, and there's always new things coming along and stuff like that. But you want to be the person that, if somebody's got a problem with their leather social media, they'll tag me. They'll tag
you.
They'll tag, and people then start to trust what you're saying is right. And if you can prove that it does what it says it does on the tin, then you're building that premium brand.
You're going to build the premium brand. You're going to get the main thing, like Karen said, is the trust element side of your brand. Trust is very, very important to build that sort of building that premium brand, is getting that trust element there. And you've got to get the trust comes, authority comes with trust and everything else, and the whole thing has to align
from everybody as well. It's not just from the actual customers.
It's even your suppliers.
It's got to be the whole thing. Your peers, people in the same type of business as what you are. If they can all look at you and think, yeah, he's good.
Yeah, or she's good, or whatever. And that's what you've got to get. And even with your suppliers, you've got to make sure that the relationship you have with them is exemplary, and because you want them to shout about you as well, and they will do, because they will get asked, who can I use to do this? Well, you want to use ABC down the road, and that's exactly what you want. You want them shouting about you, and that's where you've got to build that trust. You've got to build that authority, because your supplier can honestly recommend you, and they trust you to do a good job, because they don't want their brand affected by you doing a shoddy job. So you've got to bear in mind, the whole thing, it involves this relationship building. And once you overstep that mark and you start taking, and I'm going to swear, taking the piss out of people, then you are going to damage your brand considerably, and that's what you've got to bear in mind. So that takes us on to the sort of final number 5 in the videos, which is obviously practical steps to raise your prices. Most people get very jumpy when they raise prices. Now, there are many ways that you can do that, depending on what it is that you're selling, the service or the product or anything like that. What you can quite easily do, which we've seen people do, is they might have a product that's £10, or $9.99, and all of a sudden that product might become $10.99. They've put it up a little bit, but not an awful lot, or it's gone to maybe $10.49 or something like that, or it's $10.49, it's gone to $10.99 and stuff like that. And they slowly increment this increase to get it to where they want it to be. And the good thing with that is, if they're happy with selling it at $9, but they've slowly built that price up to say maybe $12.99. And this is where people have sales, and you see all these with like your furniture companies, where they're 50% off or whatever. There's always 50% off on furniture sales, or 75% off, the biggest sale ever.
End Sunday.
Yeah, end Sunday, biggest sale ever, guys. If you get up to sort of like $14.99 and you are happy with $9.99, all of a sudden you can, then have that sale, but you're still not losing any money. But it's a way that you can increase your prices by slowly building that. But again, trust, authority, all these things allow you to increase that price. But you've got to look at all the practical steps. You've got to work out your bottom line. You've got to know the costings for everything. And when we say everything, I mean absolutely everything. So if you are producing products, you've got to know the label cost. You've got to know how the cost of what it took you to design that label. Even things like emails, sending an email out to order the labels. How much money has it cost you to send that order off?
Time is a big thing that people forget to charge for in the making of something. And I think we'll come down to the thing about what we went through in, I think, number 3. Be confident in raising your prices as well.
Don't be frightened.
The confidence speaks volumes.
Yeah,
it really
absolutely.
does. If you're like, I've had to put it up 50p because of this and this and this.
Yeah.
Nah.
Because all of a sudden,
sit right with the customer.
No,
You've got to be like,
it's like you're justifying it, and you don't need to justify it. People aren't stupid, especially people that you're going to be doing a lot of work with, especially with detailing. If you're going to be doing high-end details on something, most of these people are people that are in a very good job, or they've got their own businesses. They understand costs, and a lot of people, we've had this in the past when we've had our detailing businesses, and we still do it with leather, where we've said about things, and they've actually turned around and said, do you know what? I'm surprised you've not put your prices up before. Your quality is so good, and we were thinking one of these days they're going to put their prices up. And there you go, you've done it. And I'm telling you what, you should have done it years ago, guys. And it's like, why didn't you tell us? And it's like, right, people like to get a good deal, don't they?
I think in a business like that as well, when you're dealing with, if you see yourself as just a detailer, you're just a detailer, but you're dealing with the guy down the road that's worth billions, multi-millions of billions, potentially.
Yep.
Don't undervalue yourself against him, because he knows what he's doing in his business really, really well, but he's getting you to detail his car. Yeah.
He's got to respect you, trust you. All this comes back to trust,
he
respect,
respects
authority.
you enough to not only work on his car, but to be there in his private space, usually. And you're invited into that circle already. So don't see yourself as just the detailer. You are equal, really.
At the end of the day, and that's the thing with it. And all that boils right back down again, guys, to authority, quality, delivering the message, taking the customer on the journey. The whole thing literally all comes back down to that price, that we spoke about at the beginning. It's how to, increase your price, how to manage your price. And there's so many sort of things that we've got to take you through on this journey. And this is why we're going to split it into 5 separate videos, because the thing is, you've got to make sure that you are giving to your client that authority, dirty, clean. There's your authority. Dirty, clean. This is giving a good visual that you know what you're talking about. You are giving them that visual. This is trust. When someone sees that and you show them that,
you're selling the end result.
You're selling the end result. You're selling trust, because they're going to trust you that this coaster that could be worth 10,000 or 100,000, you're going to make it look like that and suddenly make it 20,000 or 200,000 in value. And that's what you've got to bear in mind, because you've got to build that trust element in with what you're doing. And that then builds authority and everything else. And how can you do that? Building trust, building authority. Become that go-to person. Become that person in your industry where the customer says, oh, I know somebody that can help. John down the road, he's very, very good with information. I'm going to get him to get me some tips. And that person can then go to their friend and say, oh, yeah, this is what you do with your car. You do it like this and you do it like that. But they've come to you and asked you that. So it makes him feel good because he's gone to his buddy. Or, that guy could just say, tell you what, just go and tell my best friend, how to do it with his vehicle. And you go and give him some tips and tricks. It's not always about getting money. It's about helping people as well.
Yeah,
so it doesn't matter, what business you're in, whether you're a male detailer, female detailer, male technician with leather, female technician with leather. It doesn't really particularly matter, who you are, what you're doing with detailing, or what you're doing with leather. You just got to build authority and trust with what you're doing. And that enables you to increase prices and everything else.
Without losing clients.
Yes, and the thing is, even if you do lose a couple of clients, what does it matter if you've managed to increase your price? Because if you have lost one or two in the process of putting your prices up, they were never going to be there for the long haul anyway. You want clients that are going to be there with lifetime values. So, there's a lot of things to talk about with increasing prices. Lifetime values of customers. You've got to know every single cost, vehicle costs, insurance costs, daily running costs, your wages. And that's where a lot of people also make a mistake. They're running a business and they're like, yeah, I'm just getting by, I'm living, I'm sort of taking a couple of £100 a month, and that's about it. It's just getting me by. That isn't a wage, guys, because when you grow your business to the point where you need to employ somebody, you cannot do it. So all of a sudden you're backpedaling like crazy and your business is out of control and spiraling to bankruptcy. Very, very simple.
Yeah. People will pay more money just for the peace of mind knowing that they know you do a good job.
You've built trust.
And they know they can recommend you to their mate down the road.
Exactly.
They know you do a good job.
And that's what it's all about. So again, guys, we're going to bring to you a series of 5 videos, and we've given you some snippets of information there about what those 5 videos are going to be and what they're going to contain. And they're going to be good long videos because we're going to dive deep dive into all the sort of ins and outs of each one of those videos to get you some good information to help you grow and scale your business. So there you go. Stop competing on prices and stop having a fight to go to the bottom. And I am Richard from the R&C Growth Lab.
I'm Carolynne.
And we will see you guys next time. And thank you very much for listening. Don't forget, please share and subscribe, like and comment. And you want these help sheets? Well, we call them cheat sheets. So if you want them, you need to come back to us and get them from us. So make sure you do come and ask for them. Comment on the videos and say, email them through and give me your email and we will email you the cheat sheet for each one of our videos. See you soon, gang. Thanks very much.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.